Hello, awesome people. I hope you're having a great day today. Today we're taking a look at the Circus of Dr. By Charles G. Finney. It was published in 1935 and it won the inaugural National Book Award that started in 35. It won the category for most unusual book that was published that year. So that's pretty cool. Here's my copy of it. I'll link you to this one in the comments below for you. And it's pretty fun. It's about 135 pages long. To be about 3 days for me to read, and then there's two preludes in this version of the book, that the republication in 2016. So there's a couple of preludes and so forth, and then there is a dictionary at the end and a dramatist persona with some comedic comments about the characters and the big cast of characters in this novel. So it's definitely worth your time to read. The stuff that was originally published in the 1935 novel. It took me probably about 4 hours or so for me to knock it out, and definitely was a lot of fun. So I definitely enjoyed it, and definitely am recommending it. It was weird though. The basic premise, and again I keep my reviews spoiler free, but the basic premise of this novel is that a circus arrives to town, in a western town, and in the Wild West of a created town in Arizona that was created for this novel. And it's a smaller town, and so the circus unloads, and the circus has a lot of different things. So it starts off with a parade, and then after the parade sets up, then there is a variety of sideshows that set up. Then you explore the sideshows, and then there is the big top show that finishes up everything, and then that's it. So that's the novel. So there's not a lot of plot in terms of action, right? There are no action scenes or anything like that. This is just a different sort of take. Now, this is in the Weird West genre. It's the first novel in the Weird West genre, according to Wikipedia. So I wanted to read it to check it out. The Weird West genre is a genre that combines the old Western times and the Western tropes, and that genre with either fantasy or horror or science fiction, and in some cases 2 or 3. In this case, it's fantasy. All the mythological creatures are true. This circus features a chimera, a sea serpent, a Medusa, a fortune teller who's actually a wizard, right, and so forth. A sphinx, right? Characters that are from mythology and legends from around the world. As a part of it, and then we'll find it and explore it. There's a large cast of characters, and this book is actually written rather unusually so. Basically, what's happening? You open up the book by reading about the ad that's written in the newspaper for that day, telling about that show that night, and the parade and the sideshows, and then the big toe that will finish things off. And then you talk about the ad, and you'll meet a cast of characters who are reacting to the ad, talk about when they've read the ad that day and what their plans are to do in this cast of this small town in Arizona. And then after that, then you'll watch the parade, and then each character that was introduced in the first set of scenes are now watching the parade, and we'll see their interactions and what they think that the parade is and what their thoughts are and so forth. And then each of the sideshows will be its own separate take too. So each of the sideshows will be about a 5 or 6 page vignette, and also tell the history as told by the circus master, Dr. Lau himself, a Chinese person. And then the big top show is shown, and then that's the culminating event, and then that ends the novel 4 hours later. So there you go. Now, there's a lot of world building, which is probably expected to be from something like this, and less plot, and there's not a whole lot of action, right? So there's just a lot of world building. And so forth. This was warmly received, and it won a National Book Prize. So it's worth reading, especially the inaugural book prize, and also it's the first Weird West genre novel for you. The author who wrote this was a journalist and a big name, and newspaperman, and a big name in it. So he has published a lot of different things that are out there, and he wrote the occasional fiction piece too, in between time when he wasn't busy. So he was definitely a busy person. Just as an FYI, about a little bit more about the author, since this is the first time I've reviewed anything by him or read anything by him, for that matter. It's a lot of fun. Definitely enjoyed it. We're doing a deeper dive into the Weird West genre because I watched a 1960s show from television called The Wild Wild West, which is set in the Old West times, but has spy trappings, science fiction trappings, and the occasional steampunk too. Is very influential in the steampunk genre. So I've been doing a deeper dive into that. And then I watched on the UPN show Legend from 1994. And then the 1993 show, the Adventures of Brisket County Jr., which I'd never seen before on broadcast TV. I picked it up and watched it and streamed it too. So a lot of different things that I've been doing a deeper dive into. Also in 1935, in this same year, that this Weird West novel came out that combines fantasy with Weird Western. There is a famous serial for the movie serials that stars for the first time in his first starring role Gene Autry, the singing cowboy himself, in a science fiction western combination called The Phantom Empire, where there are survivors of Lemuria sinking in the who have now settled underground, and they have a much more advanced civilization, and they'll be invested in like taking out Gene Autry, and he'll be fighting against them after some geological tremors on a ranch that he owns that has a lot of guests and so forth that come to it that he owns in the show. So there you are. That's pretty cool too. So then I deeper dive into this, and this is the final thing that I've read in this genre, and now I'm moving on to other things. In fact, I've done some other things in between. I've done some fantasy and some stuff and some science fiction that I've been reviewing for you on on my Tuesday channels where I've been publishing books. But I came back to this after just finishing up a previous novel in the Dark Sword series. So this will be, and the next episode is going to be The Tower of Xanum, which I read about 10 years ago. Now I'm going back and reading again for the channel to keep so that way I have a fresh review for it. And there you are. I'll go ahead and leave you to it. Have you read this or heard of it? If so, what you think of it? I would be more than happy to talk with you about it further in the comments below, whatever your thoughts are. I'm giving this a 7 out of 10. It's definitely a fun story. It started out, I definitely can see why people would want to give it an 8 or talk about it being like a hidden classic, because again, it did win the National Book Prize Award. But again, there's just too much world building and not enough. But it's only 4 hours long, right? So it's not like it's that much world building, right? Compared to a modern novel that's like 600 pages long, it takes like 70,000 hours to read, right? And this is a 4-hour read. So let's be fair. So I'm probably giving like a 7+. Yeah, but it's a lot of fun. It's the first sort of weird circus thing. It definitely was influential on things like Ray Bradbury and so forth, and so it's definitely pretty good too. But again, I'm giving it probably a 7+, like a 7.4 or 7.3, and rounding it down to a 7 proper rather than a proper 8 because of that. But your mileage may vary. You may definitely think of this as a much better classic of the genre and so forth. So let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Thank you so much for your time. You have a great day.